Hi, I just wanted to share with you that the Quintuplets and I received our second Guinness World Records certificate recently for me pushing the quintuplets in a 10K event. And we set the record at 1 hour and 4 minutes and 52.9 seconds. Our first record that we set was for the marathon. I was again pushing the quintuplets in a 5-seater stroller. And we set the record at 4 hours and 42 minutes and 49 seconds. So we got the second one. I also got a certificate of participation for the quintuplets for each of the events. This one here for the marathon, and then another one here for the 10K. So something that they can keep themselves. I'm probably going to need to get 4 more copies of each so they can each have one. Had you told me when I was a kid that I was going to set a record, let alone for speed, any kind of speed event, I would have said that you are out of your mind. I was a chubby little kid, and I remember the physical education teacher telling us, go run the 4 backstops around the little field in our elementary school. And I don't even think I got to the second backstop before I needed to stop and not run. So if you said, hey, when you're older, you're going to set a speed record, I would have said, no, not me. You got the wrong guy. So it's pretty cool to be doing this now. And that is exactly why these records are so important to me, especially now being a father of 7. I want it to be ingrained in all of the kids that anything is possible, that regardless of whatever their current ability is in life or any obstacles that they face in their future, that anything that they want to do, they can do. You guys can do that. Savannah, Avery, Lincoln, Noel, Grayson, Preston, Gabriella, anything that you guys want to do, go out and do it. Because I used to not even be able to run. And then now I set these records. Whatever it is, whether it's a physical thing or, if you can't pass algebra the first time around, then I promise you that it's within you to be able to pass algebra or to run. Or if you can't even do 1 push-up, you can go set the world record for doing the most push-ups or anything. We had such difficulty having a family. We struggled with infertility. And now here we are with 7 kids because we kept going. So that's what these records mean to me. Here I was, not even able to run around the backstops. And now I'm sitting here with these 2 records. And this family and this beautiful wife and what? Me? I like to say that I didn't choose the records, that the records chose me. And here's why. About 20 years ago or so, I started making a bucket list or these are the things I'd like to accomplish in life. And I wrote down a bunch of stuff. And I just threw in there Guinness World Records and just kind of left it there, went on with life. And I tackled some of the other things on the list, like, hiking a mountain and stuff like that. And I checked things off. And so it sat on the list and I didn't really think about it for years. And then at some point, not thinking about any records or anything, but I became an avid runner, running a lot regularly. In 2002, I signed up for my first event, the Run to the Lake in Castro Valley. I was just running around town and I saw this sign that this event was coming up for a 10K, and I didn't even know about running events. I didn't even know that existed. And of course I figured out how much 10K was, and I think I could do 6 miles. And so I signed up, I ran it, and I was hooked. And Amy was at that event with me. She was there cheering me on. And since then I've probably done close to 100 athletic events since then. And she's been at every single one. I'm very, very lucky that she does that for me. I got to support her at one event, and I would gladly support her if she ever chooses to do any other events, although she assures me that there are none in her future. So that was 2002, and I did this every year that it existed past that. I think it ended in 2013, but I did it every year. In 2009, I signed up for my first marathon in San Francisco. I completed that. And again, just everything about these running events, I loved it. I loved the crowd and the finish line and the swag bag and the people. I loved waking up early and going to everything. I loved everything about it. So that's running. And then in 2010, Amy and I decided that it was time to start trying to have a family. So we tried to get pregnant, and we weren't getting pregnant. And it turns out that we were starting down this road that we didn't know how long it was actually going to be and how difficult it was going to be. We finally got pregnant with twin boys in 2013, Marshall and Spencer, and unfortunately they were born prematurely, and they passed away in our arms. And we didn't know what the future held for us after that. We didn't know what was to come. If we were ever going to have kids of our own, or if we're going to have to go down a different path. We were very fortunate that in 2014 we were blessed with Savannah. In 2016 we were blessed with Avery, and then in 2018 we were surprisingly blessed with Lincoln, Noel, Grayson, Preston, and Gabriella, all in one bunch. So we went from devastation after losing our first two children to now having this abundance of children. Now we have 7. And then there was some heartache in between all of that. In between each of those pregnancies, there was another miscarriage. Amy was pregnant a total of 8 times with all of those children. So it was a long, painful, sad road. But obviously now we're very fortunate to have all of these children. And so, of course it was hard for both of us to go through all that, but it was more difficult for her because not only is she going through the emotional stuff that I'm going through with all of these, you think you're pregnant 1 month and then you are, and then you're not, and then you are. And it was just, we were both going through some tough stuff emotionally and mentally. And then on top of that, for Amy, she's going through the physical pain and the just everything that's involved with the pregnancy, right? You're growing human beings inside of your body, and then you're giving birth to them, and sometimes it's a miscarriage. All of it's painful and not easy. She didn't sleep. It was hard for her to breathe when she was in those later stages of the pregnancies. And then not only that, but after you give birth, her body then grows food, and then she feeds each of these babies with milk from her breast, and those babies eventually start to grow teeth. And again, she's going through some very, very challenging things. And so to get to the point of where did the idea for these records come from and how it chose me, is that I said to myself, I want to do something to honor her. And of course, I'm not going to be growing any children. And it's just a symbolic thing for me to do for her. And so I decided that what I wanted to do to honor her was to run a marathon. And then because she had carried the quintuplets, which was, without a doubt her most difficult pregnancy for a lot of reasons, she carried them for 27 weeks and 3 days. So I decided I wanted to do the 26.2 miles in a marathon, and then continue past the finish line and run an additional 1.1 miles to give me the full 27.3 miles. And also, when I decided to do that, we were approaching the quintuplets' 1-year birthday. That first year was pretty difficult. Those nights and mornings and days, all of it. It was a tough year to get through. And so it was perfect timing. So I decided to do this, and I'm like, all right, I signed up for this event, and we were going to go down to Southern California. We were living in Central California at the time. Drive down there, and I'm going to do this marathon. And after I decided to do that, I came across this article about this amazing mother named Anne-Marie Cody, and how she recently broke the world record for pushing 3 children in a stroller and completing a marathon. And I was like, broke? So somebody else did that before her, and another mom named Teresa Marie Pitts, she had set the record, and Anne Marie had beat it. And there was an article written about the two of them and what they had gone through to set those records. And I was like, huh. And then this bell went off, and I was like, I wanted to set a record, and they've done it. And so I contacted the two of them, and I said, hey, what? How did you guys do this? And can I do this? How can I do this? And so they were very gracious with their time, and they explained to me how it was possible to get children from the start to the finish in these marathons and set a world record in the process. And so thank you two, for helping me do that. And so after talking to them and doing more research on my own and preparing, went down there all ready to go, line up, and we run the race. And it was a very challenging day. There was rain, and the babies were still drinking bottles at the time. And it was a long day. We didn't set the record, but we did finish the race. And we went the extra 1.1 miles and ran the 27.3 to honor Amy. And we got a good photo all together as a family. And we went and had hamburgers after that. And it was a special moment. Just having gone through everything that we went through, not just leading up to the marathon, but just in life, to get to that moment, to finish and get the medal and give the kids the medal, and to do all that with them and have Savannah and Avery at the finish line, Amy there. It's one of those things that I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life. And I really look forward to, as the kids get older, as we look at photos and they see these things hanging on the wall, I look forward to telling them stories about that day. It was a hectic day with the rain, and a nice, helpful man named Lenny that we met out there. And it was all just, it was a good day. As a bonus to not only completing the race that day and sharing that moment with my family, doing that, something that nobody had ever done before, landed us an article in Runner's World and Men's Health magazines, which is nuts because I've been reading Runner's World for as long as I can remember running. And so we got articles in there. So of course I printed out, and I'm going to keep that for the kids. But being in Runner's World and Men's Health magazines then landed us on the TV show The Doctors, and we got to go there and meet all those doctors that we've been watching also for years. So that's insane. And as a bonus to that, at the end of the episode, they rolled out a bunch of diapers from Hello Bello and gave us a year's supply of diapers. So those things, just surreal experiences, just things that, I mean, our life has never slowed down, really, since having Savannah, but especially since having the quintuplets. So to be in the middle of this just insane life, and then to go and do these things on TV and being in these magazines is, again, I pinch myself and say, how are we here again? How is this life? But it is life, and we're having fun with it. And we're making these stories that we're gonna always cherish. Okay, so the dust settled on all that excitement, and the following month, I said, I gotta go back and finish what I started. So I signed up for a marathon that following month, and we were going to try again because I couldn't have the story be that I decided that we're going to go out and try and get one of these Guinness World Record certificates and say that we tried and it didn't happen. I need to set the record. I said I was going to do it. I'm going to go out and do it. So we attempted again the following month at the Oakland Marathon. I got my slips here. In March, I believe March 24th was the Oakland Marathon. I got to run up the Bay Bridge for the first. That was the first marathon that did that. That was out of all the marathons with the quintuplets and the runs, pushing them up the Bay Bridge was the most difficult part. And my brother Steven was there for that event on bike support, making sure that everything was going okay with the quintuplets, because I couldn't always see them while I was running from behind. We missed it by 4 minutes. I didn't set the record. That was devastating because, this was our second time. And again, just like the first time, the quintuplets were just chilling. They really enjoy being in the stroller, just even for walks. But I think something about, just like with me running, the wind in your face and then just the excitement of the crowd and all that stuff, they do great. And they did great again at this marathon. And Dad here, I didn't do it. I missed it by 4 minutes. And again, I said, I'm not going to have the story end with me saying I was within 4 minutes of completing it. So that was over. The following weekend in Modesto, they were doing another marathon. And I said, I know it's a week away, but if I just put my feet up for an entire week, I know I can do it. I'm going to go out and do it. So I contacted them and I said, I want to do this. They said, come on over. That'd be great. Anne-Marie Cody actually set her marathon record there with her triplet children. So I knew it was a nice flat course, and I knew that the Bay Bridge was the reason that I wasn't able to set it in Oakland. So flat course, but it was only a week away. So I put my feet up. I ate some mushroom pills and all this anything. I Googled, how do you recover in 1 week's time? And I found a bunch of weird stuff, and I did all of it. It worked.
Anything is possible, okay? Okay? Well, anything is possible, okay? Gray. Anything is possible, okay, Gray? Avery. Gabriella. Anything is possible, okay? Preston. Anything is possible. So Savannah, say it. Anything is possible. Avery. Anything.
You got the record.
All right, I'll see you guys down there.
Love you.
Let's go find a burger.
We beat the record. We set the Guinness World Records gave us the time of 4 hours and 45 minutes. If we wanted to set a record, it had to be less than that time. We did it in 4 hours, 42 minutes, and 49 seconds. And it would not have meant so much had we not had those two failed attempts. Having those failed attempts, that made it that much more special. I remember tears, and again, just everyone was there. My brother Steven was there. I called him the Godfather support. He had a vest on that I had made for him from Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl. And it said that on the back. And yeah, Amy was there. Savannah and Avery were there greeting us at the finish line. And this crazy guy, Sam, not crazy in a good way. He's just so full of energy and excitement. He was out on the course. He was actually out on the course in Oakland. I met him. I didn't know him before that. And I saw him again in Modesto. And so he was very encouraging while out there. And yeah, it was at the end of the race there, I stopped and I said, I made it. I'm not gonna run past this. I'm gonna soak it all in. So I stopped and I slowly walked across the finish line, holding my "anything is possible" sign, and it was good. That felt like I had honored Amy with 27.3, and we had come such a long way with everything in the years before, and it felt so good to finish. And then you apply for the certificates in the mail through Guinness World Records. There's a waiting process, and they need to approve it based on all the evidence you provide, videos and photos and stuff like that. And then one day, the certificate shows up in the mail, and it's one of those things that you don't even ever imagine, or I didn't. I never even imagined that I'd be getting one of those in the mail. I thought if anything, I'd be ordering the book and it'd be coming in the mail and I'd be looking at other people's records. And then there we are. I remember as a kid flipping through the Guinness World Records book, just page after page for hours. And never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that someday next to the tall man and the short woman and the strong man and the person stacking red Solo cups, that my name would be in there amongst those people, and that I'd be part of this family of Guinness World Records holders. I never imagined that. It feels good to be a part of that family, and I'm proud of that. And my hope is that when my children, and really anyone's children, see this, that it inspires them and that they or you make the decision to go out and do something larger than life. These records mean a lot to me because without my incredible children and the incredible odds that they beat to be here today, then these records don't exist. So what's next? We got the marathon record, we got the 10K record. As soon as this dumb pandemic is over, we plan on going after the half marathon record and setting that and completing what I'm going to call the quintuplet trifecta. So that we have all three of the records, and whatever dad comes after me, whether it's a quintuplet dad or a dad with 5 kids, and decides to beat one of these records, I hope that he also goes after, and I say he because this is for the male record. Maybe Amy's going to decide to do the female record. I don't know. But I hope that whoever decides to try and beat one of these records, that they also go after all three, and then also can take over this trifecta title themselves. And then once we have all 3 records, I don't know what, but my hope is that we could take these records and do some kind of good in the world. And I don't know what that is. Maybe it's helping other people with their own records, whatever they may be. I'd love to help anybody with the process or anything that you need to help set your own records. I'd love to just pass this on in some way and do something for somebody. I don't know. I believe that this is all for something. I don't know what that something is, but I do believe that it will all make sense someday, just like everything else that has happened. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. I'll let you know when we set that 3rd record, and we'll see you soon.
My name's Savannah.
All right, I wanted to ask you a couple questions about the Guinness World Records. Do you remember when we ran the races and we set these records? What do you remember about it?
You ran super fast and you won the record. That's all I know.
That's all. You were there. I appreciate you being there to cheer me on. Anything else about Guinness World Records?
No.
Do you want to get one?
I could probably run faster than you.
Really?
My name's Avery, and I'm 3 years old.
So, right behind me, those are Guinness World Records certificates. Do you see all those? So, I pushed the babies through a full marathon and also for a 10K race, and we set these records. No one in the entire planet has ever done that before. I'm the only one that's ever pushed them, and so we all did that together. You know that?
So, are you in Mom's stomach?
Am I in Mom's stomach?
Uh-huh.
What do you mean?
Are you in Mom's stomach?
Right there?
Uh-huh.
And then what? How did I get out if I was in there?
You just drilled a hole in her tummy.
Drilled a hole in her tummy?
So then you can get out.
I want to tell you yes, so that then you grew up thinking that I grew inside of Mom's tummy.
And then we will have to tape it back on.
Tape.
Tape the other part of Mom's tummy back
Oh,
on.
after we drill the hole to get out, I have to tape it back up.
I'm never going in Mom's tummy again.
Yeah. You only come.
Grayson did that.
Yeah. So, no, I was not in Mom's tummy in that photo, and neither were you. But all the babies were.
And I was in Mom's tummy too.
You were mom's tummy at a different time.
Oh.
I did.
I love you. Bye.
I pushed you and your brothers and sisters in the stroller, and we got a Guinness World Records title. What do you think about that, Lincoln? Car. We set a world record together. How do you feel about that? Cookie? Cookie. What do you think about that? How does that make you feel? Hi, Preston. So we have Guinness World Records certificates behind us for a 10K and a marathon, and I was pushing you and your brothers and sisters. How do you feel about that? And you. I love you. We set Guinness World Records. How do you feel about that? Excited, thrilled. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud. Yeah. Okay, say bye.